Here we go, game number one of this best of three between Suppington and LSU. Luke, Mektos, and ZPS in the blue for Suppington. Donnie, Lotec, and Stardust staying in the orange here for LSU. So we are underway. Game number one. Suppington, as you mentioned, battling through some of the most formidable opponents to get to where they are right now here in this tournament. LSU, a lot of game threes for them this evening. Will we see another one? I think that is a big question here as Luke is going to start the scoring. Actually, it'll be Mektos. A little bit of a give and go. Mektos going to secure it, but the shot from Luke beats the defense. It's 1-0.
Yeah, and already we're going to see them start firing on all cylinders. They are going to waste no time as they come into this one. And I do want to point out, though, when Suppington took on these two teams I was mentioning earlier, Bing Bong, that was a 2-0 sweep. And it feels like that was a pretty long match, but it just goes to show the level of skill the Suppington team has, that they were able to take Bing Bong down so solidly.
Well, again, I still think that Suppington pairs, I mean, even Bing Bong to an extent, and, LSU now proving that they deserve to be here as well. I think all of those teams that you would kind of expect to see in a loser's final, you would expect to see in the grand finals. And it's no surprise that we've got two of the best battling it out here in this winner's final. But I don't think we can give it straight to Suppington right now, as LSU has been battling hard all evening long, and they look to continue that. They're on the offensive side of the ball now, though they are down one here in game number one. This is going to be Mektos to try to play it out of his own corner. Off the ceiling, Lotec can't get underneath GPS. Stardust, great pass to Donnie. Sneaky little pass too, nearly beat the defense, but the shot just wide.
And one of the players that I'm kind of looking at in this matchup is Luke in particular. We saw some killer shots from him. Fantastic save there from Stardust. Goal line save. But Luke, he's one of those guys that I'm going to be watching here on this Suppington team to see if he pulls off any more of those clutch shots for these guys, because he's shown that he can put these away in key moments.
Yeah, Luke was certainly the goal scorer. At least that's what it felt like for Suppington in their matchup against Pairs, in their matchup against Bing Bong. We'll see if he continues that. It is Mektos with the only goal so far of this series. That's going to be ZPS to play it along the sidewall. Mektos there to beat Donnie to it. Now Donnie into the corner, Mektos the challenge. That's just around ZPS, and now Donnie will play it into the corner. 2:18 left to go. 1-0 in favor of Suppington. ZPS up in the air. That's towards the cage. Lotec in good position to make the save. But right now, LSU unable to get out of the defensive zone. They haven't registered a shot yet in this game, Ryan. They don't have a ton of time to find the equalizer.
Yeah, and when you're going already more than halfway into the game and you don't have a shot to your name, that screams that something is going wrong here for you right now. And what I'm going to attribute that to is just the pure offensive force that we're seeing come from Suppington right now. These guys are not giving LSU a whole lot of time to really do anything. Even if they do get a chance to break into the blue half, they're not having those opportunities to go for shots. They're not having a whole lot of time to try and make a play even happen, because these guys are moving so quickly on them. So they've got to start trying to find a way to break that down.
Right now, back and forth, the ball. A couple of big clears from either side as ZPS looks to the shot. Luke is there. He ends up getting the bump on Toddy as well. And that'll be the first of the game. Wait, no, that was ZPS. Luke has had 2 goals, each one of them stolen by a different teammate. Luke should have 2 goals, but instead he's got 2 assists. I'm sure he'll take it, as it looks like they're moving towards a game 1 victory, but still.
Hey, at the end, he still has 100% goal participation right now, so he can feel good about that one.
65 seconds left. Will he finally find what he will? It'll be Luke on the board. And a 3-0 game for Suppington. looking to take a game 1 over LSU, and I mean this. I think this game feels a little bit different for LSU, and this certainly seems like their hardest matchup they've had to face today.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, still just no shots on the board. That's going to be the first one, and it'll be saved away by Mektos.
Yeah, and I mean, we already talked about it a little bit, but that is going to be the big thing of just, you've got to put shots on the board. These guys are being forced almost to turtle up and play in that defensive half. And we're going to see a Rule 1 between DPS and Luke. Two teammates, they leave Mektos all alone to 1v3. Somehow they're still keeping him at bay, but Lowtech shuts it down, and Luke and DPS hold true to it.
Well, that'll be the first goal for LSU. As the Lowtech's going to knock home the pass from Donnie. Absolutely obliterating the defense that time was LSU. It's like there was only one man back or something.
Hey, yeah, but you gotta respect the dedication on that one, you know? To know that you're leaving him to a 3v1, like, that's dedication right there.
Well, hey, I mean, I'm sure they enjoyed watching Mektos flail around trying to make the save on that play, but either way, still looks like a Suppington win here in game number 1. Yeah, final 5 seconds. Got to tick away. LSU got to make some changes heading into game number 2. There's one for the road for ZPS. That's his second of the game. But just, again, I think this was an all-around well-played game, well-controlled game by Suppington, and they were even able to find a lot of shooting opportunities, a lot of goal-scoring opportunities off the backside of that as well. So a lot of work up to LSU right now, but the beauty of Rocket League, you go into game 2, 5 minutes on the clock, nothing on the scoreboard, and you get a fresh start.
Yeah, and that's what we need to see LSU take into account when they move into this next game is, hey, it's a clean slate. Take it, run with it, learn from whatever mistakes you had here in this game, and try to turn things around. They managed to pull off 3 shots, but all those came in that last minute. And we saw them doing that in their first games tonight, is them constantly taking these shots in those last minutes of the game. I mean, the first half of every single game at the start of the evening, they really were looking very lackluster. They weren't putting up much challenge at all to their opponent, and now we're seeing it again. So I'm hoping that that's not a trend that we keep seeing. But at the same time, though, you can't deny the great plays that have been coming from Suppington.
Honestly, I think one of the keys for this game number 2 from LSU is going to be shutting down Luke. I mean, he had an unofficial hat trick in my book in this game, and I mean, he like we mentioned, he's been the goal scorer for Suppington throughout the evening, and he's done it again. He's created plays, even if he doesn't get credit for those 2 goals early on. He created the play. He started that play, and you know, you've got to shut him down moving forward if you're LSU, if you want a chance in this series.
Yeah, and the question's going to be, how do you shut him down, though? They need to try and go for some more pass interceptions, but I also want to see LSU get more physical. We haven't seen LSU play a very physical game tonight. They really haven't tried to go for many demolitions or bumps or anything, and when they do, they've found a lot of success, but I want to see them try to take it up a notch here against this Suppington team.
Well, hey, you know, just pick the player that you think has been struggling the most on your side and just get him to rule 1 with Luke as much as possible throughout the game. You take him off the pitch like that. He's got to follow the honor code. So,
yes, I mean, that's a fair way to do it.
Then you play 2v2 for the rest of the match. But either way, we'll see if Luke able to muster some more goal scoring here for Suppington. Great pass. Oh, what a save from Lowtech.
From great pass to great save. That was just all around awesome to watch right there. That passing play, though, was so fast. I mean, the speed at which they manifested that was amazing. But that save coming out really solidly here for LSU. They still keep it 0-0. But Suppington, it almost feels like they're ramping up their aggression even more from last game.
Oh, what a pass! What a goal! Whoa! Stardust off the back wall. Low Tech just Stardust, and it's 1-0 for LSU.
What a play right here. Stardust with the tightest angle possible. Finds it in the back of the net. 1-0, 3:52 on the clock. And LSU take a lead for the first time this series.
It comes at an important time, too. Can they find another one? Stardust over the head of Mektos. ZPS and Donnie will meet. They bounce right on to Stardust, and LSU certainly looking like they gained a little bit of life from that play. We'll see if they can turn that into a couple more goals and potentially send us to a third game. Lotec using the ceiling ends up winning the challenge and a bounce down in front. Stardust off the crossbar, rebound. Lotec scores, and it's 1 goal for Lotec, 1 goal for Stardust, an assist apiece. And we have talked about this combination throughout the evening. Lotec and Stardust combining for 2. It's 2-0.
Yeah, and this offense for LSU is starting to come alive. These guys are looking really good now. We still have quite a bit of game left, but, I mean, this is already a really good start. They took it to heart that this is a clean slate game and that you've got time to try and make something new happen and you can create that new storyline, and they're doing just that.
That's a nice move from Donnie in the corner. Gets around the first defender. Now they're going to get caught. Oh, no, CPS can't get the touch. Just out of the reach of the Fennec there. He can't quite knock that one home. Looked like that was going to be a Suppington goal for sure. But now back the other way. Can CPS get there in time? No, he can't. That's the second for Stardust. And why does it feel like we've seen this exact play happen like 3 times tonight?
It just is like a trend tonight, man. Everybody seems to leave their backfield wide open, but we almost saw it happen on the opposite side of the field. ZPS just missed his touch. Everybody committed forward in LSU's offense, and all they had to do was ZPS just had to make the lightest of touches to redirect that one into the net. Couldn't find it, and they get punished for it as it comes back down their way. I mean, LSU, though, they're looking solid this match. This was not... I was expecting them to come in and it to be a close second game. They're dominating right now, it feels like.
They've got these 3 goals on the board and really haven't allowed Suppington too much on the offensive side as Donnie's going to find another. That'll be his first of the game, but 4 now for LSU. And I just want to make this point, Ryan, too, for anybody that has just been watching, or really anybody who's been following us tonight. This game, this is the winner's final. The winner of this one goes into the grand final through the winner's bracket. But you also have to remember, these teams are pretty much playing for $1,000 right now. You are guaranteed $1,500 if you win this game. If you lose, you get at least $500. But you know, it's a big difference. I mean, this is $1,000 best of 3.
Yeah, it's a big deal right now, and it's funny though because you almost wonder how much of that is even on their minds, or if they even realize it. Because then sometimes with these double brackets, you almost kind of forget that fact, and so you gotta wonder how much of that is playing into how they're playing right now. Because I mean, I'm thinking that might be a pretty big motivator right now for LSU because they are looking good.
Well, certainly trying to block everything out, just focusing on finishing out this game, and they've got a 4-0 lead. Certainly seems like we're going to be heading to a game 3 here, but got to finish the game. There's not a whole lot of time left, just about 70 seconds. But this was a very, very well played game 2 here from LSU. A great response after a pretty difficult loss, but they're going to have to do it again. That is the biggest thing. What a save from Donnie. CPS won't be able to force that home either. And I don't know. I mean, will LSU do it again? I have counted them out of so many series, and they have just continued to play game 3 after game 3 and somehow squeak out victories.
The other thing, too, though, is a majority of how tonight's gone, we have seen the team that has won Game 2 not go on to win Game 3. However, the one team who has done it so far, LSU, will they be able to do it again?
I still, maybe against my best judgment, I still think that Suppington is pretty in this series. I will 100% concede that LSU played a very, very good game too. But they have to replicate this. They can't have any less of a performance, or Suppington's going to hang around and it'll be a close game 3. And when you go into overtime or you get into that final minute tied, all bets are off, and I give Suppington the edge.
Well, that's the thing too, is we're looking at this scoreline 5-0. We just saw Suppington go from this crazy offense where they almost kept Louisiana from making a single shot to now they get shut out in the next game by a pretty large margin too, 5-0. And you just gotta wonder, what is this next one going to look like? I mean, Suppington, they have the makings, they have all the tools in their kit. It's just a matter of, picking out the right one and going into this. LSU, they made great use of the fact that they were going into a fresh game. They had that new mindset. They came into it. They looked great. And, I mean, you can just see in shot after shot. I mean, this tight angle from Stardust was just incredible to watch. And you know that was the rallying cry right here for this team.
Yeah, I definitely think this gave them a ton of momentum too. And that was just beyond the first minute. And when you can score that early and with a goal that was as flashy as that one was, it certainly gives you a whole lot of confidence, especially coming off of that game 1, like you said, where they got held pretty much shotless. I mean, not entirely, but, for the most part, they weren't able to muster just about anything. So, it gives you that confidence to come back, bring it back, and now game 3, I still think all bets are off here for this game 3. I don't think you can securely give it into either camp, but if you want to talk about momentum, I think LSU has the momentum, but I still wouldn't count Suppington out.
No, I don't think I can count either of them out, and I'm with you. This is all bets are off. This is just gonna be, whoever manages to get fire quickly is going to be the one who probably takes this one, because that's the feeling that it just has been generating lately. But I mean, game 1, vastly different from game 2, and we've seen that throughout the night, though. That's almost the weirdest part, I think, is that this has been a consistent trend throughout the whole tournament of you don't know how these game 3s are going to go, because game 1 and game 2 are so insanely different. It's not like one team goes into game 1, dominates, and game 2, they lose barely. It's like both times it's a pretty decent blowout in one side's favor, and then game 3 just happens to be stupidly close.
I think that's just the nature of Rocket League sometimes. I mean, you look at best of 5s and best of 7s, and you can kind of see that trend, right? You can kind of see, like, I mean, unless the entire series is 1-goal games, it oftentimes feels like game 1 goes to, the blue side by a blowout. Games 2 and 3, it's orange who's dominating, and then it goes back and forth, and then you get into game 6, and it's like, okay, we got to start playing like tight now. And I think best of 3s kind of, I don't know, they kind of accelerate that process. Yeah. So I would not be surprised if we see another close one. And this is why I was saying that I don't want to hand it to either side, because I think if this comes down to, like I said, a tie game going into the final minute or even overtime, I give the advantage to Suppington, just because I feel like they've got that experience to hang in there and win these games. And LSU have been doing it tonight. I can't deny that, but they're going to have to pull it out one more time, and I don't think they can make it close.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, despite how close the series has been, it's still, it almost just feels like Suppington has this extra thing. Whether you want to call that experience, offensive pressure, whatever, it just feels like they have the extra it factor that they would need in a tense situation of, if this does go to overtime, if this does go down to the wire of the last minute. But LSU, they just keep surprising us over and over and over again, that you just don't know who to call.
Yeah, certainly, but we are underway, game 3. It's time to stop the talk here, Ryan, and then let the players duke it out. 4.5 minutes left to go in this one. Slow tech. Click reset potentially. Luke's going to shut that down. EPS getting challenged by Stardust, and this will be Mektos around the sidewall. He's going to go for a flip reset as well. Great pass to Luke, but he can't get a touch on it. That'll pop up. Minute gone. No score. Game 3. Decisive Game 3 again. For anybody just joining us, this is the winner's final. Winner of this one moves on to the grand final with the bracket reset in hand, not to mention that $1,000 swing. Winner of this guaranteed at least $1,500. And a chance at that, the grand prize of the 3K and those very beautiful championship rings as well. So, gotta be intense.
That's like the coolest part to add that. I mean, to be honest, the money's cool, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I would play for the ring. You know, there's only a handful of Rocket League players. When I say handful, I mean 3 in Renault Vitality who have championship rings. You know, so that's a cool thing.
No, you're not. You're certainly not wrong. And it is certainly an extra incentive for these players to give it their all, as this one's already been pretty close. Not a whole lot of action really to speak of, but mainly just midfield pressure, poking and prodding, trying to find openings, making sure you play defensively. But this could be the start of a good opportunity, though the double commit's going to be dangerous. That shot's just a bit high. Stardust looking for a touch, won't be able to find it, and that'll give ZPS a chance to turn. So at halftime here, Game 3, still no score. But I do have to say Suppington's been in control for a little bit longer in this game, though they haven't been able to generate much of anything. As Luke, one-on-one with Low Tech, that'll be bounced off the back wall, no problems there. Though ZPS keeps it in, Low Tech will clear, and we play on 0-0.
Yeah, and Donnie, he was sitting down there in net just now with 0 boost for a good bit. If we had seen Suppington come in with a shot, there is little guarantee that he would be able to save it, and a shot just comes firing in from ZPS off the pass, and Stardust manages to pick up the save. Both these teams are so dialed in right now that it is amazing to watch.
That was a very important save too. I mean, you mentioned it. It was a hard shot on goal. That's going to bounce out to ZPS, and that will be the first for Suppington. And you take a look at the defense here, not ready for the double touch with Low Tech there, and ZPS is going to punish it for it.
Yeah, and that's a very unfortunate setup right there, but a minute 41 still left on the clock. LSU, they tend to start getting more and more aggressive in those last 2 minutes is where we see them typically pick up at least 1 goal. So if they can go without getting scored again, I think they'll have a good chance at finding the equalizer.
That was a chance for Stardust, but he missed it wide.
Oh,
back
no.
the other way. Mektos will score, and it's a 2-goal swing. And yeah, I'm sure Stardust's going to want that one back. I thought that was the equalizer, but now Suppington up by 2.
Yeah, and that's just very unfortunate for Stardust. I mean, he's been performing so well all night, but you're going to have a mistake happen sooner or later. It just came at the least desirable moment for him here. But 2-0, still got a minute 15 left. It is definitely doable, but we've got to see LSU get fired up right here and right now.
65 seconds. Time left on the clock. Luke, can he turn this one in? Yes, he can. That's 3, and Luke will pick up his first of the game. Suppington looking to close it out now. It was a valiant effort by LSU, but the time not in their favor. It's doable in a minute. But
it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, against Suppington, who have played lights-out defense for a majority of Game 1 and pretty much all of this Game 3. I just don't see LSU doing it, and unfortunately for them, they'll have to drop to the losers final.
Yeah, and I mean, there is nothing too bad about that though, because while they are in the losers final, they are still going to be guaranteed at least $500 from this tournament, even if they end up losing there as well. But they still have that second life to try and make a push back up and have a chance at revenge here against Suppington, because they've shown that this is a team that they can beat. It's just getting that level of consistency, and once you add in that best of 5 factor, it makes things a little bit easier for them to try and have more time to work on things.
Well, the final moments of Game 3 going to tick down now. Suppington 10 seconds away from being our first grand finalist of the evening. Donnie will fire. He'll put one on. It won't be a shutout in Game 3, but not enough time left on the board for LSU to try to secure any more. And Suppington, again, going to be the first team to qualify into the grand final. LSU still have to do some work in the losers bracket. This ball just going to stay up for the moment. There we go. It should land here in just a second. We will move on from this series, as that is Suppington again taking a 2-1 series victory. LSU again, another commendable performance. Very, very close series all the way through. But it was Suppington who, I said I just felt like Suppington has that edge in a close game.